I am sorely in need of vacation since I only took a really short one this summer, so I'm headed up to Lake Tahoe without the fam for a little R&R. Also, this video was requested by Wei Cheng, who was curious what there was to do up there over the summer. Well, Wei Cheng, let's kick off this vacay and I'll show you. For those that aren't familiar with Lake Tahoe, this is a hugely popular resort area located about a 3 to 4 hour drive northeast of San Francisco. And it has spectacular Olympic level skiing in the winter and fabulous boating in the summer. For decades, it was the summer retreat for elites here in California, and you could still find vestiges of their estates scattered all around. The Lake Tahoe area is pretty huge. It extends all the way from Placerville, California in the south, all the way up to Reno in the north. Yep, you did catch that. Lake Tahoe is right smack dab on the California-Nevada border. It can take a good 2 hours to make the whole entire circuit around the lake on low traffic days. During ski season, forget about it. It's impossible. So when you head up here, plan to centralize your activities in one geographical location, either the North Shore, the South Shore, the East Shore, or the West Shore. Personally, I prefer the South Shore because it's got a heck ton of activities and is located right smack on the lake. South Lake Tahoe also has way cheaper accommodations and has a big centralized village area with restaurants, bars, and retail. Plus, it's a hop, skip, and jump away from Emerald Bay and Zephyr Cove, two really popular summer rec areas. Starting here in South Lake Tahoe are two highly subscribed activities. For thrill seekers, Heavenly Ski Resort in the city center switches over to other fantastic outdoor adventures in the summertime. All right, so I had a couple of scheduling snafus, and it doesn't look like the gondola or the adventure park are going to be open during my trip here. But it's a pretty cool activity to try over the summer. So I can't actually take you up and show you around, but I'll talk to it a little bit. If you're going to just explore the trails, the gondola ticket costs roughly around $30 round trip. Or you could purchase their Adventure Park Pass, which is roughly the cost of a lift ticket and includes the gondola rides. You can also get that downhill thrill via their old-timey bobsled ride called the Ridge Runner. They recently opened it in 2016, so no worries, the equipment is relatively new. Although the summertime bobsled runs have been around in Europe for like over 100 years. The sleigh is attached to a half mile of track, rides up to 55 miles an hour, and descends about 300 feet. It seats up to 2, although you can ride it solo, but you have to be 16 and over. If that's still too extreme for you, Heavenly also mans a summer tubing ride. You get your own inner tube, and then there's a magic carpet that takes you to the top of the 500-foot run. The lift pass also covers a climbing wall, 2 ropes obstacle courses, and a gold panning attraction. There's 3 zip lines up here, although those are a separate charge. Usually the adventure park is open daily, June through Labor Day, and then in September, they're only open Fridays through Sundays. Well, there's no shortage of activities here to keep me occupied today, so let's go check some other things out. The other uber popular activity here in the summer in Lake Tahoe is to boat around the lake. There is nothing more exhilarating than feeling the wind whipping through your hair as you bounce over the water. There are all sorts of boats available. You can rent a speedboat, charter a fishing boat, drink on a party catamaran, step back in time on an old-timey paddle boat, or take a scenic lake cruise on a small yacht. Most companies do a daily public tour, or you can charter the boat all to yourself if you want to pack a picnic and just go out for the day. The one that I'm taking today is the Golden Rose, leaving out of South Lake Tahoe. There are 2 things that I really love about this tour. First, it's a wine tour featuring vintages from local Sierra Nevada wineries. And second, it's a damn sexy ride. If you don't drink, that's okay too. There's a discounted designated driver rate. You can come along and watch the rest of us get wasted. I'm here with CJ, who is the captain of this beauty, the Golden Rose right here. And this is like a vintage boat, right, CJ?
Yeah, it's a 1956 Chris Craft. She's converted into a Venetian water taxi style. She's originally from Seattle, Bellingham, Washington, and she spent her life up there in the ocean and brought her down 4 years ago. She survived a snowstorm and almost was salvaged completely, and they built her into what she is today.
What makes Chris Craft so unique?
Well, back in the day, they pretty much had the market. They were the all wooden boats, woody boats back in the 50s, 60s. Not too many people had them. This is obviously a one-of-a-kind boat. As our neighbor over here, our sister ship is one-of-a-kind as well. Our owner has a unique knack for finding these boats that you can't find these anywhere else in the world.
So this is one of their sister boats. You take a hot air balloon that launches right off this boat. It's pretty cool. It seats about like 36 people. Captain CJ here says it's the only one of its kind. Here's a list of wines we're going to sample today. It looks really good. We're taking a relaxing 2-hour cruise to and back from Emerald Bay. All too soon, we're back at the slip. What an awesome tour. Super chill, super relaxing. Once you've exhausted all of the fun out of South Lake Tahoe, head west about 20 minutes here to Emerald Bay. There are a ton of great hiking trails. One of the most well-worn is the Vikingsholm trail with an excellent surprise at the end. Come on, it's only a mile down. Ta-da! This is Vikingsholm. It was built in 1928 by Mrs. Josephine Knight as a summer lake house and was donated in the 50s to California as a historical landmark. As you can see, she was really into Scandinavian architecture and thought that Emerald Bay out here kind of looked like the Swedish fjords. So she hired a Swedish architect to come design for her a 38-room house based on ancient building methods. Check out the craftsmanship on that gorgeous Swedish peasant roof. And the fantastic stonework, which is circa 11th century Swedish masonry techniques. Mrs. Knight's first husband was a major investor in the Pacific Union, and her second husband partially funded Charles Lindbergh's famous flight. And her daughter eventually married into the Wells Fargo family. So, yeah, pretty well to do. The Vikingsholm Trail is open year-round, but only in the summer can you come down here and take a tour of the house. Tickets are $15, and you can get them at the Visitor Center, which is in the little log house just a little bit ways down from Vikingsholm itself. Come on, let's go in and take a tour. So remember yesterday when I was boating and we went to Emerald Bay? Check this out. Heading now into Emerald Bay. What we couldn't see from shore is Vikingsholm's tea house, built on a tiny island out in the bay. There's nothing left now but 4 walls. You can rent a kayak and paddle out there. And only from the water can you get a full view of the state in all its glory. Goodbye, Vikingsholm. Castles aren't the only things you can hike to. Because we're located at a lake high up in the Sierra Nevadas, there are tons of waterfalls all around. And I saw several small roadside ones on my way up. Maybe about 100 feet down from Vikingsholm, if you continue down the paved road, is the trailhead for Eagle Falls. It's less than a quarter of a mile to Lower Eagle Falls, but the path is kind of rocky and there are some uneven steps that you have to climb. So maybe you don't do it if you have a walking disability or you're not wearing the right footwear. You can see the top of Lower Eagle Falls from the highway. In order to get back there, backtrack along Vikingsholm and then head east towards South Lake Tahoe about 500 feet and you'll see it. If you cross the highway, you'll pick up the trailhead for the Upper Falls as well as Eagle Lake. Upper Falls are only a quarter of a mile hike in, up some stairs but not too far, but I would totally recommend that you go all the way and visit Eagle Lake. It's a moderately difficult hike. It's about 1 mile all the way uphill once you get past the Upper Falls. Some parts are almost like bouldering, so I would totally recommend that you wear hiking boots. Running shoes are not gonna cut it. Upper Falls. Back behind the Upper Falls is a little wading pool if you want to take a dip. Continuing on towards the lake. Check out these mountains. Gorgeous. There's Lake Tahoe in the distance there. I'm the king of the world. The trail isn't super well marked in places, so ask for directions often. Look, almost there. Oh, wow, guys, look at this. So gorgeous. If you brought your swimsuits, you could do a little swimming. Time to head back. At least it's all downhill. After you're done hiking, or before, come hang out at the beach. There's an awesome stretch of them between Emerald Bay and South Lake Tahoe, including Baldwin, Kiva, and I'm here at Pope Beach. This beach is great because it's shaded by these huge pine trees that also protect it from the wind. And if your objective is for some R&R, it's relatively quiet, so it's a great place to relax. Well, except for during high season and Labor Day.
Now you can go swimming here. The lake is calm enough, but dip a toe first and decide. It's frigid.
All right, guys, we're here in Zephyr Cove and we're not going to explore it this trip because A, I don't have time, and B, if you can see, it's raining. Actually, it was hailing earlier, little ice chips. So that's another thing about Lake Tahoe. Expect those summer rains. Zephyr Cove is about a 20-minute drive east of South Lake Tahoe on the Nevada side, and it's got a ton of activities. It's a pretty huge rec area here. There's a beach, there's a day-use picnic area, there's a marina where a ton of the boat cruises leave out of, including the MS Dixie paddle boat, as well as the very popular Serenity from Action Sports. When it is sunny out, the beach has more of a college-y party vibe to it. Additionally, there are a ton of water activities here, so you can rent speedboats for tubing, kneeboarding, wakeboarding. You can also rent jet skis, canoes, kayaks, stand-up paddleboards. Oh, and Round Hills Pine Beach, which is right next to Zephyr Cove, is also highly recommended by the locals. Did you just hear that? I think that was thunder. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here before the thunderstorm strikes. After a full day of fun in the sun, it's time to partay in South Lake Tahoe's casinos. Technically, this side of South Lake Tahoe is called the city of State Line, Nevada, and this is where all the casinos are because you can only gamble in Nevada. There are maybe 4 or 5 major casinos, half of them owned by Caesars. Anyways, They're nothing close to the glitzy modern ones that you'll find in Vegas nowadays, but they are more akin to the Vegas 1970s casinos with their $6.99 buffets and their cheesy reviews. But that cheese is half the fun, and buffets are a must when you come to Nevada. So let's head on over to Harrah's for some dinner, drinks, and diversions. Now, as a veteran buffet diner, I must share with you the 10 commandments of buffet dining. Number 1, browse before you dish food. That way you can make a game plan before you start eating. 2, grab big plates so you don't have to make too many trips. 3, ditch the carbs. Don't fill up the precious room in your stomach with fillers like pasta and bread. And if you do, better be something damn exotic. 4, ditto with the soups. 5, instead angle for the expensive proteins like prime rib and seafood. 6, take small portions on your first plate to sample so you know what to load up on your second plate. 7, take it easy on the beer and sodas, which will also fill you up. 8, practice these handy stomach compacting exercises to make room for that crucial third plate. 9, leave room for dessert. 10, finish up with some caffeine so you don't fall into a food coma before the evening's even started.
Damn, my stomach is so loaded. Commandment number 11, get up and digest.
Let's hit the slots and try our luck. If you're not a gambler, there are plenty of other entertainment options. There's the usual stage shows with magic at Harrah's and improv at Harvey's next door, as well as the nightclubs and bars. So, a quick little footnote before I turn in for the night. Lake Tahoe is a popular summer destination, and accordingly, the services are available all season long, 7 days a week. You get pretty spoiled. But in my opinion, the best time to come for a little quiet and relaxation is actually the shoulder period, which starts right after Labor Day and goes all the way through December, right before ski season starts in earnest. The one caveat, though, is that the services start to wind down. So for all your activities, make sure you're checking hours and availability. All right, folks, I'm pretty tired from my strenuous days of activities, so I am going to hit the sack. Good night and peace out.